Hey, this is Zack Violet. You're listening to the Chicago Singer-Songwriter Podcast.
Hey, this is Chris Dever, and you're listening to the Chicago Singer-Songwriter Podcast. I'm here with Zack Violet at his home in Westridge, which is better known as Little India. What made you want to move to Little India?
I happenstantially, he said, makeshift adverbizing everything around him, just fell into this awesome place that was really big, and my fiance knew this lady who wanted to do it, and we were like totally about it. It's just a nice amount of space, and the food's really nice. We're vegetarians, and so it's like super tasty.
And your girlfriend spent some time in India, so she's familiar with the culture.
Yeah, totally.
Have you
Never
lived
been
in
there.
an Indian community?
No, but
before?
this is basically, as close as I've gotten. And it's a lot of, Indian, Pakistani, that area of the world people around here.
Sort of a departure from where you grew up in Michigan.
Where everyone was white. Yeah.
Was it a
not
culture
everyone.
shock for you coming here?
That is not necessarily. It wasn't really a culture. I wasn't shocked. It was a culture shift, but I appreciated it. Yeah.
Nice. How long have you been in Chicago?
Like 2 years, a little more, something, a little less. I don't remember. I'm not super good at time.
And what made you come to the city?
The music scene that I assumed was here.
And now you're a pretty big part of it.
Yeah. I'm getting around. I like playing, so.
Yeah. How many gigs do you do on average, like in a week?
This month was crazy. We had like 3 or 4.
Wow.
Probably maybe not on average. We had 5 one week, and then we've had at least 1 or 2 every week other than that.
Man. And you do all the booking for those yourself?
Yeah, it's really tough, but it's okay. I'm getting used to it. Kind of getting used to it.
So you've got 2 bands.
Yeah.
And then you also do like solo performances too, right?
Uh-huh.
What are the 2 bands you're in?
LaLa is indie glam pop from the future. And Dr. Death Crush is dark art rock from hell.
And how did you find the people in those bands?
There's my friends, or they saw me play somewhere and liked it. And we talked and got together and did stuff.
Cool. And how long have you been just in those bands since you moved to Chicago, or have you had other projects that sort of fell to the wayside?
In Chicago, that's the only thing. I do have another tiny electronic side project called Friendy Man that I do from time to time. But that's mostly it.
Were you in bands back in Michigan?
Yeah, I was in a lot of bands.
What kind of stuff?
There was one kind of punk band that was called the Honey Pot with Nick and Tyler and Pedro. That was fun. I played like a little mini Korg and didn't wear any clothes. That was pretty much my whole...
Like literally no clothes?
I wore like a Speedo, but mostly I was just jumping around and having a good time.
You are all about putting on a performance on stage. It's not just playing the songs and
Absolutely.
hopping off. You're all about the visual aspects of it and the...
Well, I'm more about the full immersive aspects of it. The visual is just another component of your sensory experience. And I think it's important to stimulate and maybe even overstimulate that from time to time. A little bit of overwhelming.
And so right now you've got your hair is purple,
Yeah.
violet.
It's violet.
Reflective of your name, Zack Violet.
Yeah.
Does that change as time goes on? Do you alter your appearance and take on different sort of stage personas as time goes on?
Not really. I think that this is pretty much the set established, set up for now. If I think of somebody else to be, I'll definitely go ahead and do that. But
what else can people expect to see from you on stage?
Well, I always wear heels. I'm usually wearing makeup. I'm always wearing makeup. Who am I kidding? My hair's gigantic usually. And I'm going to be screaming and running around and gyrating and talking about the truth. So those are the things.
Do people typically respond well to that? They're not put off?
Depends. It's really, if they're put off, then I didn't really need to talk to them,
Makes sense. Like the fans that you're going to connect to, you're just going to connect to, and anybody who you don't.
What I'm putting out there is what I'm putting out there, and I mean, they definitely do respond. I have a lot of people that have come up to me and said really, really sweet, meaningful things that have kind of emboldened me, kind of validated my work. I don't know.
Would you say you have a fan base?
Yeah.
People that come to those shows like pretty much all the time that aren't necessarily your friends, but like just like your music.
There's an ever-growing amount of those people that they don't. I mean, it's not necessarily the kind that would go to every show at this point because I mean,
5-6 a week. That's
a lot.
Big commitment. That's a job at that point.
Yeah, but I mean, there's a lot. There's people go to as many as they can, and it's really nice to see see who shows up, and it's really whoever shows up usually is I'm really happy that they showed up.
Sure, yeah.
So it's fun to see them.
And you seem like the kind of person that's going to take time after the set to go out and like meet people and get to know them. You're not just there for the performance. It's
yeah. I want to know everybody's name, and it's so much for me about the energy transfer. I mean, I want to hear about other people's art too. I want to hear what they're doing. I want to be able to understand the context that I'm living in. And so like. Yeah, hanging out with people and seeing what they're about it's part of the fun. It's really fun for me.
What do you have to say about your art when people ask you, when that conversation starts? What are some key parts of you and your music that you try to get across?
Well, I would say that I generally am about people having a good time. That's first and foremost on my list of things that need to happen for my art. It's not necessarily like a fun good time, but it's like a good time that's like necessary. I mean, sometimes like Dr. Deathcore shows, it's raw shit. It's the truth. It's kind of smacking you in the mouth, and you're just you're there and you're living it, and that's really good. It's not necessarily like the same as a hahalala show where I mean, we're gonna be telling some kind of dark humored stuff, but mostly it's really just a lot of laughter and lightheartedness, and so. I think that, foremost is having a good time with my art is really important to me. And I think secondarily, there's I guess there's kind of a spiritual component that people can ask me about, and there's a lot of depth to my lyrics. I don't just kind of put my shit out there. There's a lot of depth to my theatrical contexts too that have, they have a lot of relevance to me, all the way across the board,
Spirituality is a big deal to you.
Kind of.
What do because you mentioned some like Hindu teachers and sort of Eastern spirituality.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot that Western religion did to me that I didn't really appreciate, and so when I found out that there was a lot of other different ways of having a perspective and having a philosophy about the life that we all have, it was really nice and refreshing, and I kind of wanted to share that, and so that's kind of some of the inspiration behind some of my art.
You were brought up Christian, I assume?
I wasn't really. I mean, I was kind of like baptized, and then I just kind of fell out and didn't really do anything until I was like, very recently after. I mean, I was, basically, I did have a lisp until I was 6. And that was actually when I stopped going to church, too.
When you were 6?
Probably the same reason. I can't imagine they're not completely correlated. That's not true. That was a joke. I think I just learned how to talk. I don't know, the church thing, yeah, it always just bummed me out. It was always just kind of like guilt and a bummer. And then, there's people like Chogyam Trungpa Rinpoche that are just like, so like, it's just you right now. Like, that's what, that's fine. That's what you have, and it's fine. Things like that.
Yeah. There's a documentary on Netflix that you recommended.
Crazy Wisdom, man. Everybody should watch that shit.
Yeah.
So great.
And what's the name of the guy who it focuses on?
Chogyam Trungpa Rinpoche. He's from Tibet originally, and he lived in Boulder, Colorado. He formed the Naropa Institute.
So anybody that wants to like sort of get an idea of what direction you're sort of going and have been going,
I mean,
check that out. And you can kind of relate to.
He's just got so many good points that I really like to integrate into my lifestyle and music and art in general.
Like what?
Let's see. I mean, he's all about, cutting through spiritual materialism is a book that he wrote, and he's all about basically coming to, the present moment, using meditation to come to the present moment a lot, and not build your ego, materially, mentally or spiritually. You know what I mean? Like, it's not like an ego is not meant to, I don't know, I could wax philosophical forever, but an ego is not meant to, just grow and grow and grow and grow and grow and be and be and be. It's a vehicle to help whatever is below that, wake up to its true nature is kind of what the idea is. I don't know. It's convoluted, it's a little bit tough to get into, but once you do, it's kind of fun. And I wouldn't say that all of my art is directly about that. I wouldn't say that that's probably the main point of my stuff, because it's about having a good time. It's not about flipping out. But if you have an existential crisis, then, you got to deal with that, and it's fun.
Do you meditate daily?
Yeah.
It's part of your sort of routine.
Yeah, I do. I do yoga and meditate daily, and it's it's really nice. I would highly recommend it.
Does that help your songwriting process too?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Just sort of like clears the mind and lets whatever.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's it basically it helps you feel more capable, I think, when you've taken the time to calm down and look at what you've got going on, with realized and, true intentions and simple precision. And you can let go of a lot of stuff and get it out of the way, like you were saying, for sure. But, it's there's just, it's all upsides. There's no hangover. It's fucking great. But, yeah.
What's your songwriting process like?
I usually write like 2 songs at a time, just because I get mad at one of them. And then I have to go to the other one. But yeah, I write the, the chords, something melody and chords wise, combines really nicely. I'll go with that and just kind of spit some verse off the dome.
So it's usually music first for you and then lyrics?
Yeah, because whenever I write the lyrics first, it always just sounds kind of contrived and like I'm trying to fit it into a meter, and it doesn't ever, it's not that it doesn't ever work, but I can tell that it doesn't sound as organic, and it's not as fun to sing that way.
Well, let's listen to one of your songs. The first one you're playing tonight, it's called Life, Though.
You said, I said, I love you too much, and now it doesn't mean anything. It took all the courage in my heart to even get it out the first time. I love you. I love you. I love you. You're right. Oh, nothing's gonna make me turn around. Throbbing through the veins of this town. Even if I feel you falling down, there's nothing that's gonna make me turn around. Life, whoa, life, yes. Ooh, yeah. Turn around. I'm throbbing through the veins of this town. Oh, even if I feel you falling down, no, there's nothing that's gonna make me turn around. Ooh, nothing's gonna make me turn around.
Which band plays this one?
This is a hahalala song. Yeah, for sure.
And what does it sound like when you guys do it live?
Well, actually, I haven't even made the backing track yet. So mostly, we've only performed it with her playing the ukulele and me playing the guitar. And she's got a really cool, like, doodle-doodle part that's really nice. It kind of, you'd know what it was. It doesn't sound really cool when I sing it. I just realized that. I totally heard it. I heard it. But it you know, it is cool.
Who's the her you refer to?
Oh, LaLa. She's my fiance. She is known as LaLa in the band hahalala, and she's also a nebulous thought form from the future inhabiting a robot water monkey replica.
So that makes you haha?
Yeah.
Is it just the two of you in the band?
Mm-hmm.
And then you do backing tracks?
Yeah,
that
I
you
make my
sort
own
of
backing
perform to?
tracks, or we just perform acoustically.
Nice. What do you use to do the backing tracks?
My Roland Phantom X8 and a couple of K oscillators and Pro Tools.
But it really starts with just the chords, and then you throw the lyrics on it, and then you guys kind of work out parts for it, I assume, and then you throw the
yeah.
backing tracks in,
Yep.
just to kind of like thicken it up and liven it up.
Yeah. Emma will do a lot of like arrangement. You know, she'll kind of like edit it a little bit, sort of sometimes. She's written one song for the band that's called That Guy, and it is beautiful. She wrote it for her friend's wedding, and it's really nice. And she also helped me write our pop country ballad, which is called D&B. And but everything else is that process where I just kind of like, you know, have some chords, have some melodies, have some lyrical ideas. And
How do you play the tracks? Do they come right off the keyboard, or do you have them on an iPod or a CD?
we've just had them on an iPod.
Do you ever have any issues with that, like tech failures, where like the
Not
song
yet. I mean,
doesn't
it's
do
pretty.
something?
It's pretty simplistic. Hopefully, I mean, mostly it's just a DI, a little like a 1/8 inch in that, you know, somebody's just got a little RCA jack and bingo. It's just level, you know, mixing. It's tough. I mean, we've only ever done it a couple times so far, and we're going to be doing it in the upcoming show. That's going to be kind of the big debut of a lot of the different tracks that I've been working on.
Nice.
So, yeah, it's you know, it's a matter of leaving space for vocals in the mix as best you can, and just kind of hoping it doesn't blow up the speakers.
Yeah. Oh, and you've got a show you mentioned this coming weekend.
Yeah, this Sunday at Phyllis's Musical Inn on the 31st.
What time are you guys
Sunday.
playing?
We're gonna start at 9 that night,
Yeah.
and we're gonna be playing with Radiant Devices.
Ooh, are they similar?
They are kind of similar. They're mostly our friends, and they are electronic. They're trying out a very exciting new like 3-piece version of them, kind of a streamlined Radiant Devices. It's Moj Day, and is the name of the lead singer, and I believe lyricist, and she writes a lot of the music and stuff, and they collaborate. But in any event, yeah, it's really it's powerful. She does a lot of spoken word poetry, and it's really it's raw, and it's very powerful. They bang on like fucking like a gas, like a propane tank, and like
yeah.
a satellite. It's like
Oh, neat.
It's those guys. So
Cool. What other bands around the city do you like really love playing with?
honestly, a lot of the bands that we have played with were being nice and coming down from Kalamazoo and playing with us down here. We've done a lot of that. I'm trying to think of bands, and I know Sam Larson and Bloom. Those are really cool.
Yeah, I'll actually be interviewing her in a
no
couple
shit.
weeks. Yeah,
Nice. She's super great.
she is. She is. I met her randomly at Gallery Cabaret for their songwriter night,
Right.
like Wednesday night thing, and like
Nice.
just one of those people that, well, I mean, like you too,
Sure.
where you just meet them and you're like, I feel like I've known you for years. Like, they're just like a warm personality. You're just like,
Yeah.
there are no airs about you. Just so,
Cool.
like, yeah, you guys are on the same level there.
She's really, really nice, and she hosts the Red Line Tap. Is where she hosts the open mic
Yeah,
at Red
yeah.
Line Tap.
If it wasn't so far north, I would love to go up there. But
I
like,
know, dude.
To ride my
It's-
bike an hour and a half.
It's just east for me. That's the most beautiful part.
Yeah, it's nice.
Just hop on a bus.
Yeah, do you do a lot of open mic stuff?
Yeah, that's what I've mostly done here so far. I've done a lot at Uncommon Ground. We did the Heartland Cafe open mic. We were featured there, and those guys are amazing. And we love them. And we've done Multiculti open mic. Played there. We're featured there for a moment. And, we just kind of playing around, open micing. It's important. It's a really beautiful thing in open mic. It's kind of like karaoke 2.0. You know what I mean? Where like you can go out and have an evening of watching art, or you can go out and have an evening of being art and do karaoke and like kind of get involved a little bit and like get up in front of people. And then there's, like open mic night, and that's kind of like the next level where you're like either, playing an instrument too, or, and then and you can network with people in a really beautiful way, and it's just such I don't know.
That's
a good open mic is a really good thing. You know?
That's the best thing about it, is just like getting to know other people that are doing stuff, because like everybody knows a whole network of other people that, not necessarily that you have to know for like business purposes, like, oh, maybe I'll meet these people and they'll book my band, but like just to have,
But just for contextualizing your life, like
exactly,
surrounding yourself with art, the best you can.
Yeah. Have you built up a pretty good network of people in the city?
I mean, yeah, I've got a lot of pretty wonderful friends that, I wouldn't call them a network, because they're kind of just like my friends, and like, I don't know, a network.
It does sound kind of corporate.
It just sounds kind of corporate.
Yeah.
So I don't know, but yeah, I think that if I need like photography or some things done, there are friends that I can go to and get help with things.
How do you stay in touch with your fans? How do you let people know like what projects you've got coming out, or when you release a new song or album?
Well, what I've been doing recently has been a little bit more effective than Facebook, because that's what I was doing. I was just kind of like, posting on my page, posting on the LaLa page. And, people kind of look at that, but they don't. But so
now they don't even see it the way that Facebook's like adjusted the pages features.
Is that what it is?
Yeah. Yeah, they've changed the algorithm to try and get people to pay to have like,
that's
their
why
posts
it says boost posts, because
they're really trying to push
twats.
that, and even that I've heard isn't as effective.
Oh my god! Well, no wonder nobody ever. Okay, well, there's
Yeah.
that. So in any
everybody's
event,
using
what
Facebook.
what
Get
I've
off
been doing
Facebook.
instead is I've been emailing people. Just I'm kind of looking into some of the different mail, like they have like companies that'll like regulate your email lists, like MailChimp or whatever. I haven't actually looked into any of it, but I've mostly just been, somebody asks for a track, or somebody meets me at a show or an open mic, and I'm like, oh, you want to know what we sound like? I'll email you a track, bow, and little personal message, and it's nice.
Cool. And then you've got their email for every time something comes up.
And then
shoot out
if
something.
they want to, follow me and stay updated, and then I always give them the unsubscribe option. I try to. Anyway.
And it's probably built into like MailChimp service or whatever.
Yeah, that would be nice if
Yeah.
that was just kind of probably.
And I think they've also got a feature too where you can actually see like who's actually clicking the email to open it versus just deleting it, and like how if they have to scroll down, like how much they scroll down and read it. Like it's really
oh my god, that's like
yeah.
NSA.
Yeah,
level.
exactly. Well, you're paying for it if you subscribe.
Right.
Do you put out a mailing list at your shows to try and like get
I
people's
passed my
email?
phone around the last couple ones.
Oh,
and I
nice.
just get people to type their phone or their email address in.
That works out. Yeah, I'm always curious to hear it, because like Facebook is so ineffective. I I get 3-4 invites to events every day.
Yeah.
It's like,
And you don't
it's
necessarily.
at this point, like
Yeah.
unless it's somebody that like I've already seen in person, that I'm
Right.
like, hey, I'm going to your show. Like it just gets deleted because otherwise you get notifications all day. Like, hey, you have events coming up. Well, I don't.
What I found to be a small amount more effective was personal messages on Facebook. That gets, I mean, people feel a little bit more, because I mean, then you're kind of like referencing a conversation you've had, and you're kind of like, continuing a conversation and being a nice guy. And
Yeah.
So
I've started to see people using that as spam too. Like I've gotten messages from people
that's
that I don't
nuts.
know.
And
They're
you're just,
like, "Hey, what are you doing tonight?" And I'm
copy-pasting,
like,
just like,
"I don't know, who is
yeah.
this?" And they're like, "Oh, come to my show."
Yeah.
It's like, right, who is this?
Right. I'm not trying to be a creepster. It's the tough line you gotta ride.
Yeah, and email is a real personal thing. Like you're getting something in your email inbox,
Right, and
from
if you've
somebody
given
that
somebody
you know
your
they
email,
wrote.
it's yeah.
Yeah, that's cool.
It's a
I
whole
like
different
that.
game. Yeah.
Cool, man. Well, let's listen to your next song.
Okay.
This one's called "Because of the Drugs."
Yeah.
I'm there every time you get high. I'm not afraid you're losing your voice. You think that you don't have a choice, and the things that became you are someone else. Does it freak you out? Shrieking pangs and constant doubt, and the life you got's a bitch, and she's raping you, and so you by yourself. It's a gram of control, and I'm happy for you, yes, you know that I truly am, yeah. I'm happy for you, yes, you know that I truly am, yeah. It's only because of the drugs, because of the drugs, the drugs. Because of the drugs. Don't know and you don't even try. I go way deeper than you, and I've been twice as high, and now I'm by myself. You're by myself too. Inside of you. You are one of the more, yeah. Two people inside you. You are one of the more, yeah. Because of the drugs. Because of the drugs.
Is this a Dr. Death Crush song?
It is. Yes.
It's a little more rockin'.
Yeah.
What's a Dr. Death Crush show like?
Well, Stephen Lynn plays guitar like his dad is Odin, and his fingers are smoke, and the world's about to end. He's just the most amazing guitarist I've ever come in contact with. And so Dr. Death Crush shows are a lot of me just kind of like jamming the hell out to whatever he's got to lay down.
Improvisationally?
I mean, yeah, he can just rip a solo out of nowhere, and it will just make your whole life different afterwards. He's really talented. Yeah, I mean, we've had a little bit of a lineup change because we had to move to Chicago to try to elevate our, show availability and just kind of our, life goals.
You knew Steven from Michigan.
I did, yeah. He saw me play at an open mic and came up to me and said that I was cool enough that he wanted to be in my band, and I was like, yeah!
Wow. And Steven I met briefly before he took off. But he makes like music is his livelihood.
That is, yeah. He just released an EP recently that was really, really pretty terrifying. It's called Help Me, and it's really scary. And he's scoring Hamlet for the Transcendent Ensemble Theater Company. That's coming up. Actually, I think that opens this Thursday, and it's running for 3 weekends.
Very cool. And who else is in the band?
Right now, Brian Sutton. Who I also call Brian Manhattan, just because I feel like it. And that is it. At this point, we're auditioning drummers still. We've had a couple that were good, but, just it's tough to make things work out. Because, drums are, big, and you have to, have a car and, have a space to put them, and they're, loud, so you have to, have a space that's not surrounded by people who have, babies or anger. So finding those spaces with those dudes in those cars is, it's a process. But we've got a guy who's actually living in Dallas, and he really wants to be in the band, and he's a pretty cool guy. So we're gonna try to see how he sounds pretty soon in June.
Cool.
He's gonna drive up and
big changes ahead for both bands.
Yeah, big time.
What would you say Because of the Drugs is about?
It is about kind of that spiritual component of trying to let go of dualism and realize that there's just no point in investing in the fear or anger or desires that are kind of coming at you or trying to get you to identify with them on the material sphere. And so drugs, I mean, on the one hand, pushed a lot of people away in my life because of the way that I act when I was on a bunch of drugs. Sometimes you just aren't super nice. You're just selfish and weird. And realizing that it's the drugs that make you that way, and you're not really a freak. I mean, you could be a freak, but you can be a freak that you love. You know what I mean? You're not you don't have to be a douchebag. And I think Because of the Drugs is ultimately about transcending the duality of loving part of yourself and hating part of yourself. That's just pointless, useless, energy wasting kind of thought trapping.
Did you have a lot of revelations on drugs? Were there things that you just experienced that you weren't going to experience sober?
Yeah, acid, man. It will take you to town. You will go to Flim Flam Village and you will live there for as long as you can. But, the shitty part is it kicks you out. That's the cool thing about meditation and yoga. And, you can just kind of keep going at, stuff and you don't get kicked out at the end.
I recently listened to a podcast about high performance people and all these super rich or super talented whatever, and they had a doctor on who did research on acid back in the 60s, and he said a big trend right now is
low doses,
or
sub-perceptual dosing.
Yeah,
it's super weird, what a concept. That's just
and it's these people that are CEOs of companies and people that work these incredibly long hours and just need to be creative all the time. And they're just, it works, they have to have somebody regulating it for them, not a doctor,
some sort of
not
clinician,
legal, but
that's
some
got
sort of,
the little teeny
between
measuring
that
tools.
And then they're using mushrooms as a cure for post-traumatic stress disorder too.
Absolutely,
and they talked about that too and how it's so effective that the government's now looking.
I saw that on CNN. Yeah.
Because it basically
that was 2 years ago, and then I've never heard anything about it since then.
Yeah, apparently they're still looking into it.
Wow.
And it's basically they've done enough research now where the government's looking at the cost of therapy for the rest of a veteran's life versus I forgot if it was 6 weeks or 6 month,
Right.
like shroom session.
Yeah.
And it has the same effect. But
Dude,
it's so
I
much
want to be
cheaper.
that guy. I want to be just sitting with people doing shrooms and going, "Hey, man, remember how it's gonna be great?"
Well, and apparently that's
that would
like,
be so
there's-
much fun.
There's a whole field of like therapists out there, basically just to like guide people through
Well, then I guess
their experiences. So
this
if
is
you
a
need a
fitting
career, yeah,
time for you to interview the end of my music career. Is now. I'm
Exactly.
gonna just be a shroom therapist.
totally. Do you, with your music, do you think it has therapeutic value to people?
I think it has therapeutic value to me.
Just through writing it and performing it?
Yeah, and the catharsis involved in that. I think that it's to the extent it's cathartic music. I can say that because I experience it daily. And if people get with it, I'm pretty sure that they can have their own. I don't know if it's happened or whatever, but they can have a catharsis. I hope, and that's what it's for. It's art is purgatory. Not in a noun way, in an adjective way. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah. If you weren't a songwriter, do you think you would still be an artist? Is it just in you?
Yeah, it's definitely, I have a lot of energy, and I used to do a lot of sedation, and now I just kind of like try to subvert the energy into different things. So like if I'm just sitting around, I will probably snatch out a notebook and start doodling, if I feel like, antsy or whatever. And it's creating just is a balm to all sorts of tough shit. And I think that the more I do it, the better I feel. So.
Was it a hurdle to get over to like start writing songs, or did it just sort of come naturally?
Yeah, no, I mean, my songs were terrible for a good long time. They were like real bad in high
Did you know
school.
it at the time though, or was it like a hindsight thing?
I had a good feeling about how, because I mean, that's the shit. Ira Glass had this really sweet quote, but you have really, really good tastes. If you're trying to be a really, really good musician, it's because you have really, really good taste, and you can obviously tell the discrepancy is there between what you're making and what you're hearing on, your idols' records. And yeah, it's just kind of cinching the gap closed as best you can.
What kind of stuff were you listening to during that time? Like in
When
high
I was
school?
writing shitty music?
Yeah.
9 Inch Nails and Marilyn Manson and Korn, because it was high school.
Yeah.
And I was raging out. I think, Led Zeppelin and measuring yourself up against Black Sabbath and Led Zeppelin. I mean, not necessarily lyrically, Black Sabbath isn't like, but it is good for what it is. But I wouldn't sound good. I don't know.
And who are you listening to now? Like who like really gets the creative juices flowing for you?
I would say right now I love Amanda Palmer, and I honestly love Lady Gaga and Sia, and a lot of pop acts that are just killing it, that are doing a really good job. I like all of Jack White's projects, especially the Dead Weather, and I'm so excited because I think they're going to come up with a new album in the coming year, is what I've heard. And, I love the Kills because Alison Moss Art's amazing, and I love the Ravenettes. They're really tasty. They're kind of a melding of those kind of two genres of, I think they're dream pop is what it's called, and it's really, really nice. I like, I don't know, I really like System of a Down. I don't know. I like rocking out. I like hard music. Noisia is probably my favorite electronic band. They're just so big and beautiful. I love them. Yeah, that's kind of who I'm jamming out to.
Well, let's listen to the last song you performed, which is a bit of a rocker. This one's called Less of a Fuck.
I don't know what time it was when I did it. Couldn't couldn't bring myself to love the sun with everyone still alive. I shot myself 6 times and I went outside. The snow is thinner and it whips around like smoke, and I always think about you when I'm cold. And it's a long 6 months when you dress like it's almost spring every day. Like I have to tell you that. Like I have to tell you that. Yeah, I don't know what time it was when you called me out. If it was before, if it was after, I couldn't give a last of the fuck, because I shot myself 6 times and I went outside. And the snow is thinner and it whips around like smoke, and I always think about you when I'm cold. It's a long 6 months, and you dress like it's almost spring every day. Like I have to tell you that now. Like I have to tell you that. I don't know what time it was when I did it. I couldn't bring myself to love the sun with everyone still alive. I shot myself 6 times and I went outside. And the snow is thinner and it whips around like smoke, and I always think about you when I'm cold. And it's a long 6 months when you dress like it's almost spring every day. Like I have to tell you that. No, I don't have to tell you that.
Is this a newer song?
This is like, I wrote this when I was probably like 20.
Like a classic. Stuck around.
Yeah.
Won't go away.
Yup. It's an antique.
Do you remember when you wrote this one?
I think so. I was back at my parents' house and it was super snowy and I was bummed out because it was fucking Muskegon and it was just the winter time and nothing to do and just smoking weed and Netflix and eating Triscuits and drinking chocolate milk all day long and working at Applebee's.
How are you not huge?
I was then.
Were you?
Dude, no. I was a bummer.
Aw.
It's all right though. And then I, was just like, I need to write a bar anthem, but I need to write a bar anthem about acid. So I did.
So you obviously didn't shoot yourself 6 times, literally.
No, that was a figurative shooting.
What does that sort of allude to?
Well, it alludes to taking 6 hits of acid. And just kind of turning your phone off.
And just not giving a fuck.
Yeah.
Just letting the world go away.
Mm-hmm.
Do you still do the harder stuff?
Well, I haven't really so much since I moved to Chicago. I cut out a lot of the, harder stuff that I used to do. I don't really drink that much anymore. I just smoke weed pretty much every day. But I would do, mushrooms or acid or peyote or mescaline or DMT or
Would it be easier to list the drugs that you wouldn't do?
Or ibogaine. I wouldn't do iocane powder. Never mind, that's the poison from the Princess Bride. I meant to say ibogaine or I don't know, ayahuasca. I would do that too, I guess.
So you're kind of a guy that's up for anything.
I mean, I'm up for anything that's like a hallucinogen. I'm not gonna try to smoke crack or meth or.
But like life in general, like you're rolling with whatever gets thrown at you.
I'm trying to do that
And
the
making
best
the
I
best
can.
of it.
Yeah, it's all the same thing, right?
Yeah, totally. What's in the future for you? Both
Hopefully
musically, personally, all of it.
a bunch of touring, I hope. I mean, I'm basically just trying to make as marketable of a band as I can twice, and then just go on the road with both of them and play large places and small places and people's living rooms and Wembley Stadium. So, wherever, man. Just kind of want to go.
Any
Do
album
play
releases
music.
in the future?
Well, we're probably not going to do albums as much as other bands might, because I think that in this kind of iTunes, Spotify sort of Wild West situation we got going on, there's not a whole lot of reason why we shouldn't just kind of simplify the process, let people make their own playlists, release singles, and not actually have albums in a traditional sense, because it doesn't really seem to make a whole lot of, I don't know, sense.
And you don't really need to anymore. I mean, if you have like a concept that you want to release, like here's 10 songs that sort of tell a story, cool. If you've got 10 songs that are just 10 songs you wrote over the course of 2 years,
Right.
your method makes a lot more sense. Because then you kind of give people a little bit at a time.
Well,
Here's
yeah.
another song. Instead of like, here's a lump of songs.
Right.
Let
right.
me know what you think of them once you process them and get through them.
Right. And I mean, there's something to be said, and I do love albums. Like, I will probably release albums, you know, if I get either, I don't know, major record label support or whatever. But I mean, like, because I mean, you know, songs flowing into other songs and, you know, concepts, that shit's just lovely. I love it. But, you know, I mean, I wouldn't necessarily, I'm not going to try to, like, stitch it together now. I mean, it's a lot easier to just kind of, you know, let the shit out as it comes. And
Yeah, and it seems like there's a lot of other artists that are doing that too. Like, I was just listening to a podcast with another Chicago band, Celine Neon.
Celine Neon, yeah. You were
And
telling
they're
me
doing
about
the same kind of thing where like they'll do it, you know, release a song and then a video, and like they're really well done videos. It's not like, you know, they take their iPhones out and lip sync to something. It's
Right.
really well done stuff. And I think it's kind of cool because it just kind of like you just keep giving people something. You just
Definitely.
keep reminding them that you're out there,
Stimulation,
and
visual
you being
stimulation is
so
important.
visually driven, like that's gonna
Yeah.
be really cool to see what you.
I would love to do the whole package of live, you know, international touring and music videos for every song.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
That'd be great.
Do you have music recorded from either band?
Yeah, I do.
Currently? Where can people
Both.
find that?
One could find hahalalamusic, which is indie glam pop, at hahalala.bandcamp.com. And there's going to be more posted there pretty soon. After our gig this coming Sunday, we're going to be posting some of the karaoke tracks, the backing tracks for just so people can have them. And for Dr. Death Crush, you'd go to zackviolet.bandcamp.com. Or we also have a SoundCloud for both bands. Or just email me at hahalalamusic@gmail.com, and I will just send you tracks
For free.
for free.
What?
Yeah.
Man,
how it
that's pretty
works.
cool.
Yeah.
I like it. We've got a show coming up this weekend. People can check you out, find you on Facebook. But more effective is going to be
Join my mailing list.
join the mailing list.
Yeah.
Get on it. Get those updates.
For sure.
Cool, man. Anything else you want to talk about?
Well, we have a comic book for Hahalala that's going to be pretty sweet. We've got
Who's doing the comic book?
me. It's going to be... At this present moment, it's a little slapdash, but it's going to be good. I'm excited. I mean, it's, you know, it's just, it's kind of like writing a book, only you draw pictures too.
Sure. What's the context? Like, what's it about?
I mean, it's kind of a lengthy discussion, but mostly it's about the 41st century intergalactic pop duo sensation, brought to you by McRae Gun Productions and Promotions Entertainment Limited in association with Uncle Sunshine's Crystal Smack, Easy, also known as Easy, who are assassins and pop stars in the future. And Hahalala is a pair of nebulous thought forms that inhabit robot water monkey replicas of those pop stars and come back to the present.
You say that in such like a, now I have to tell this story again.
I feel like I've said that like a billion times.
Yeah.
I feel like, that's kind of why I want to have the comic book, so I don't have to do it. You can just read the comic book and then come to the show and be like, oh, I know what's going on.
Really cool.
We're also trying to work with Strange Bedfellows Theater on devising a piece.
Oh, neat.
Yeah.
Because you have a theater background.
I do. I went to college for that.
And you've kind of focused more on music, but there's still an interest in theater?
Well, absolutely. I mean, theater's like the ultimate art, in my personal opinion. It's got like every art in it. You know, it's music and literature and visual art, and you dance if you want, and you can put everything in it. It's a Cuisinart. It's lovely.
Did you say it's a Cuisinart?
It's good. It's whatever you want to do. So
that's cool. Did you come up with the hahalala sort of origin story on your own, or was it a collaborative effort?
It's mostly me. And then basically I would come up with some really, really, really crazy shit, and then Emma would pare it down and kind of like get the, like kind of like the good part out of it. She's a good editor. It's nice.
Well, Violet, thanks for hanging out, inviting me to your place.
Yeah. It was great to meet you.
Actually, the second time, because the first time I came over, the equipment didn't quite work out well. So it was kind of cool to like hit reset and do it again. I think like we got much better performances, and like it's a nicer day outside.
It was a way nicer day outside.
Everything's just sort of working out. So
nice,
it was good to hit reset and to see you again and hang out in your place.
Absolutely, man.
Looking forward to seeing what else you got, what songs you're going to be recording, and shows you're playing, and it sounds like it's entertaining, if nothing else.
Yeah.
And I'm sure it's a whole lot more. Well, cool. That's all the time we got for this episode of the Chicago Singer-Songwriter Podcast. Keep writing and keep playing Chicago.